What's going on, YouTubeverse? This is Caleb. This is an awkward intro. Yep, it's real awkward. What's going on, NLC Creative Team YouTube fans? It's Caleb here. Today we're doing something a little bit different than the regular vlog. Today we're going into a tutorial about some things I learned on a video that we made for this weekend. So we're going to go over that real fast. The regular vlog will be back come next week. It's going to be pretty dope, if I do say so myself. Other than that, we're going to jump into a tutorial, and yeah, let's do it. So yeah, we're going to go over exactly what techniques I used to actually make this shot work from what it looked like previously. Alright, so here we go. We're going to dive right into it. Now, as you can see, Alan does not actually know how to walk in slow motion. He actually had to go through about 6 weeks of training to learn how to walk that slow and tilt his head. But he did a good job. Proud of him. So, here's the basic theory behind what we're doing. If you look up here, you can see these giant plates. That's essentially the background. And what I've been able to do was make the background stick and then essentially do a pretty cheap job of rotoscoping him out without doing a full track. And I'm going to go over exactly how I achieved that right now. So the best way to go over this is just to strip back all these layers, and then we'll build our way up so you can see exactly what's going on here. So essentially, this top layer, this right here, if I just shut that off, this is what the original footage looks like. Alright, it's pretty boring. Not a whole lot. So what I did first was I took this shot and I just rendered it out. So it was just this shot. It wasn't pre-comped or anything, just because sometimes it's easier to track it out that way. And then I applied a 3D camera tracker, which did two things. One, it made a whole bunch of tracking points on his back, which is super important to achieving this technique. So it made a whole bunch of tracking points on his back, but it also, because we were shooting at a wide enough f-stop, it made a bunch of tracking points out here in the distance, which are actually usable. There are tons of tutorials out there online about 3D tracking, and I will probably create one here pretty soon that will go more in depth into it. But essentially what I did is if I open up this right here, I'll just turn this on real quick, and I'll turn off the fill on it. What I essentially did was I created a 3D track on top of Alan, and this follows Alan everywhere that he goes. And then I applied a fill, which made it black. This automatically fixes most of my rotoscoping problems. This is just a quick, really bad rotoscoping job that I did. But the way I used it was I made it an alpha mask above this. So now, as he's moving, whatever was in this giant solid is actually subtracting itself from the background. And then essentially, what I had to do from there was just key out around his head with a color key, and it automatically cleaned a lot of that up for me pretty quick. But as you can see, it still looks kind of nasty. Doesn't look necessarily the greatest. So we're going to bring it back to the beginning here. Got to turn on our 3D camera. And what I did was I did the same thing that I used to rotoscope out Alan by applying that solid with that mask. I did the same thing for the background. I just created a solid out in the background, replaced it with this epic looking sky, scaled it really, really big, and then I placed it in the background. And again, we can go more in depth into 3D tracking later, but essentially it just makes this background stick to the scene where it is. And so now we've got him rotoed out. We used key light to just get rid of the rest of the blue in the sky, which really got rid of most of the rotoscoping issues that you would typically run into. It still looks kind of messy, and there's a really easy fix for that. And the simple answer, I had this layer which has a giant lens flare on it. So I'll show you exactly what I did. So I took the background layer and I duplicated it and I brought it above everything else. So this one's on top of Alan. So you can see there's the background right there. I applied this fill, made it black. That's very important because you're going to use this layer as a blending mode. And then I applied Red Giant Universe's No Light Factory, picked a flare. The flare automatically sticks to the background because it's 3D tracked already. So it's all the way in the background back there. Right click, blending mode, add. And immediately what this does is this creates this light that goes above Alan, which automatically blends him into the background a little bit more. The underlying problem at the moment, though, is that you can see this defined line of where the landscape ends and it goes back to being that plain shot. So very quickly, I just created a mask on the bottom, turn that on, makes it all nice and golden, and then you have a pretty epic looking shot. But yeah, that's about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. You're going to cut to me now, jumping over to the other side of my desk so I can do an outro that's going to be really awkward depending on which one she chooses. Alright, and that's the tutorial for you. I hope you guys all enjoyed. We'll see you back here next week. This has been Caleb from the creative team at 10LC. See y'all next time in the vlog. Good job. Did y'all miss seeing my face? I did too. It's all good.